people, the ones that make you feel alright. They tell you the truth and they wish you well. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself.
Hope you found them.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you.
I recognize God in you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Hey, lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love.
From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite. It's in honor of the God in each other, so we come together.
Now look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you.
Namaste, I bow to you.
Feel the love in the sanctuary. Hey, lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love, in the name of love.
Good morning. My name is Gina Overholt. I'm a practitioner here at the Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm so happy to see all of you. So I'm going to invite our service support practitioner, Pam Watanabe, to come up and light the candle. Come on, baby, light my fire. Sorry. I was just making sure everybody's awake. This light represents the light we are as a community. Just as a lit candle lights another one, and its light is not diminished, so we too as a community share our light with everyone we meet. So join me as we say our affirmation together. We rise together as love in commitment to one another and ourselves. We rise together with intention to learn about ourselves and each other. We rise together. As we gather this morning in spiritual community, let us pause to just be here now in this present moment, in this beautiful space, knowing that each one of us is a divine expression of God. As such, we know that peace is at the very center of who we are. We know our spiritual community as peace. With peace at the center, our community nurtures and supports our growth and development, and we give thanks for this community which values and demonstrates extraordinary respect, compassion, safety, and accountability. For all of this and more, I say thank you, and so it is.
Good morning, and a big welcome to everybody. Good morning. All right. I'd like to welcome anyone that's here visiting us that might be new. I want to thank everyone that's in YouTube land out there, because we're all together again today. I'm Keith Watanabe. I'm a community member and a volunteer, and today's host. I just wanted to say, it's September. Has anyone noticed changes in the air? Yes. Yeah. I feel like September is the bridge between summer and fall. I don't know, some of you know that I'm a competitive tennis player. I'm in the midst of a pretty important match, and I'm in my ready position, and I'm looking down, trying to get focused, and I see, for the first time in early September, a fall leaf that was changing colors. I'm kind of looking at it like, I bend over and I put it in my pocket, is what I did. And I'll be honest with you, I like the idea of change, but sometimes I don't embrace it as well as I'd like to, right? And the end of summer is something that I mourn a little bit. So today we've got a full program for you, because as we go through change, how can we find a little bit more peace in our change? Yep. Oh, some reminders. Please silence your phones. And in today's world, silence your smartwatch, maybe, right? Yeah. And if you're going to stay late and maybe fellowship at the end or have some coffee or visit, help us find you if you've parked somebody in. So if you're the second person, this is the best example I've seen of Marcia, this is the best example. Yay, Marcia. And back in the back, we've got a welcome team that kind of help you craft something, maybe not as elegant as this, but will be very functional. Today's program, we've got our senior minister, Reverend Bobbi Becker. We've got some practitioners in support of our program today. You've met Gina and Pam, who lit our fire, right? And it's like, okay. Marjorie hosted a meditation pre-service that happens every Sunday. That's really a delightful process to move into your service on Sunday. On production, we've got Matt and John in the back. Thank you. And today we've got Reverend Veronica doing the production coordination. And Carol Ann's always involved as well. We've got the ever-talented music, okay? Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Des, Richard. Fantastic, always good. I wanted to bring up Debbie Ann Vokes, but I just wanted to say something about her. She's our leadership chair, and she leads this community with so much care and attention. So as we bring her up, can we get people to clap? Debbie Ann, come on up, darling. So good.
That That was a lovely welcome. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everybody. Okay, as Keith shared, my name is Debbie Ann, and I'm one of the members of the Leadership Council here at Pacific Coast. And the first thing we're going to do before announcements is read our vision together. So if you'd please join me. Through mindful and respectful exploration, we are creating a healthier foundation that supports and engages a whole beloved community to launch new strategies for a thriving spiritual center. Thank you, that's lovely. And for our announcements this week. Okay, Saturday the 21st from 1 to 3:30, we are going to have a fall equinox celebration. This is part of our Healing Arts Ministry. We have 3 beautiful souls leading us, Andrea, Rosa Marie, and Zaire, and they are going to perform a cacao ceremony, conscious embodiment, breath work facilitation. Rosa Marie, who was here for sound bath, she's going to be back to close out the afternoon with a sacred sound bath ceremony. Please join for this wonderful offering. Next Saturday from 1 to 3:30, there's tickets and information available on our website. And the person who brings these wonderful offerings to us is our very own Valerie Day. And she, Healing Arts is Valerie's ministry, and we just are grateful to have her providing these for us. All right, 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Next Sunday after service, we have 2 wonderful presentations. The first on approval, control, and security by Rachel Rosen and Pam Watanabe, and followed by candor provided by Jesse Keeler and Chris Schreiber. So this is part of our ongoing series, so come after you have some fellowship, listen to these wonderful presentations. Care Circle Sunday, where we go deeper, is the 5th Sunday this month. We're going to be talking about adventures in faith, facilitated by our very own Reverend Bobbi Becker. So this is the 29th at 11 a.m., so come and prepare to go deeper. All right, the annual meeting. So this will be hosted, facilitated by your leadership team. We're going to be giving all kinds of updates on what's going on. It's going to be directly after service on September 29th. Bring your questions. We're going to be talking about new board members, a new logo, our financial status, program updates, and new team, which is including new teams. Okay, Adventures in Faith, we're going to be doing this October 1st through November 6th. There's an opportunity to sign up for a small group study. This is based on the book called The Book of Joy, which was by the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. And we're going to be reading that, discussing that, and it's all about rising in joy. So these will be small groups of probably 8 to 10 people. There's lots of opportunity. There's daytime, evening, on Zoom, in person. There are clipboards at the back of the sanctuary where you can sign up and tell us what you prefer, and we'll get you into a group. If you have any questions, feel free to see myself or Reverend Bobbi or Pam. And thank you. I just have a couple quick thank yous. Beth Syverson and Janet Maresh for stepping in as new leaders of our welcome team. And I have to thank Jan Maybe coming in as one of our new hosts on our host team. And last but not least, Wenda Orcala for the amazing youth and children's program last week. Thank you so much.
I invite you to take a deep breath as you prepare for meditation. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. Right now, right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. And how my mind can turn and twist and spin, just begging for some peace. That's how I know it's time to go within, be still and just breathe. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. And with each breath, I go deeper in this space and ground myself from the peace within this place. I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now. Yeah, I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now.
How many of us experience peace on a regular basis? Go ahead, raise your hands. How many of us know that peace is at the center of our being once a week, once a month? I know that for me, peace is hard. At any given moment, I'm not peaceful. It's not a stretch of the imagination to say that peace eludes me. One could say I'm at war inside, often. Examples abound. I'm not at peace because I'm stressed about our burning planet in the future. I'm at peace because I'm not at peace because I'm stressed about my ever-expanding digital footprint. I'm everywhere on Reddit and YouTube and Instagram and my Google feed, consuming and consuming content mindlessly, not creating it, mind you, being tracked and listened to and spied upon with every click and gaze. I'm not at peace because my morning doom scrolling has once again caused sadness, consternation, fury, frustration, so on and so on. These are just a few examples. So how can I feel at peace at the center of my being when I let so many things interrupt it? How can I practice peace? I recall the song, "Peace is flowing like a river, flowing out through you and me, flowing out into the desert, setting all the captives free." The verses that follow replace the word peace with joy. Joy is flowing like a river. Faith is flowing like a river. Hope is flowing like a river. Love is flowing like a river. It's a beautiful song, really. And I'm sure many of us know it. I know that I sang it in the church where I was growing up. And I discovered when I looked it up that it was written in the 1970s, which actually makes sense because peace was in fashion then. Peace, in fact, is just a heartbeat away. When I insist on it, when I insist on allowing it to flow within. Peace can't flow through you and me, in fact, unless you and I collectively call it forth to flow through us as individuals, and then with peace at the center of our beings, then communion, community, follows with peace at the center. That part where it's flowing out into the desert and setting all the captives free, that peace is flowing into every day, every dry, dusty, sand-filled part of our beings, restoring me and you and setting our captive minds, bodies, psyches, hearts, our very beings free. So let us pray now with words from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. I know there is a power for good which is responding to me and bringing into my experience everything that is necessary to my unfoldment, to my happiness, to my peace, to my health, and to my success. I know there is a power for good that enables me to help others and bless the whole world. So I say quietly to myself, there is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life right now. It is flowing through me, circulating in me. I am one with its rhythm. My heart beats with the pulsation of the universe in serenity, in peace, and in joy. My whole physical being is animated by the divine spirit, and if there is anything in it that does not belong, it is cast out because there is one perfect life in me now. And I ask you to join me in saying together, and so it is.
Stuck at a red light outside in an old bookstore. Your son said, Daddy, what are those X's for? As the light turned green, he changed the subject fast. Started talking about football as they drove right past. So what do you say in a moment like this, when you can't find the words to tell it like it is? Just bite your tongue and let your heart lead the way. Let's get out of here. Oh, what do you say? 17 years old, she was out with her friends. They started drinking at some party till she was 3 sheets to the wind. Her mama always told her she could call no matter what. She was crying on the front steps when her mama showed up. So what do you say in a moment like this, when you can't find the words to tell it like it is? Just bite your tongue and let your heart lead the way. Yeah, let's get out of here. Oh, what do you say? Sometimes you gotta listen to the silence and give yourself a little time to think. Her every breath, well, it's weaker than the last. And lately when she sleeps, she talks about the past. Her husband knows, well, she's tired of holding on. She looks at him and says, I wanna go home. What do you say in a moment like this, when you can't find the words to tell it like it is? Yeah, just close your eyes and let your heart lead the way. Let's get out of here. Yeah, what do you say?
I'm not supposed to tear up before I get up. At a high school in Montana, a group of students decided to let loose 3 goats. Before they let them loose, they painted on the goats numbers: 3 goats, 1, 2, and 4. The school administration spent the day looking for number 3. I'm going to do that one day. Isn't it interesting how the tendency is to always look for what's wrong? You know, to go right to the detail and to try to find an answer to something when there's nothing wrong, right? And I think, you know, when I think of that story, I think about how much fun those students had. I remember high school. I remember doing a few things. Not a lot, just a few. But I was the kid who worried about getting in trouble. So that was me. I'll do it, but then I'm hiding it, and you'll never know I did it. And I think that's what's interesting about peace and being a community of peace, because last week we talked about looking for what's wrong, or rather than stepping back. We talked about trusting that we're all part of this truly inherent collective goodness. And if you remember, for those of you who weren't here, you missed a great music team singing, you know, goodness is running after me. And the opportunity is to pause and let that goodness catch us. And I think, you know, from last Sunday to this Sunday, I know that nothing happened this week, right? Like there weren't any global events that happened. There weren't any national events that happened. There weren't things that came up, as Gina so beautifully stated after she got her fire lit, right? That things didn't show up that... So let me ask this question. How many of you were disturbed this week? Right. How many of you were relieved this week? Mm-hmm. And how many of you are wondering what's going to happen? Like, right, all of us? We want to find that third goat, don't we? We want an answer. We want to know what's going to happen. We want to feel secure in whatever's going to happen, whether it's in our own lives or what else, because we have this idea that if this happens, I'm going to be okay. Doesn't always work that way, does it? And sometimes it does. Sometimes the thing happens that I wanted to happen, but it doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen the way I think it will. I remember as a teenager, my senior year of high school, I was both an athlete and just, I would say, a typical teenager, female. I identified as female in high school, struggling with her sexual orientation without her knowing it. And I remember coming home one day, my mother knew I was, and for some reason we both attached this. And I came home one day from school and I rushed in the door and I said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm on the homecoming court." And I heard her fall. She didn't expect that. I didn't either. But not because it wasn't possible, but because we both had a perception of me that was, no way could that happen. You know, there was just way too many things that weren't perfect about me for something like that to happen. And so that's like the big joke, especially when I was the queen. That was even more. Who'd have thunk, right? Gave it away. Gave that, whatever that was, away. The thing about part of it is I think high school is a perfect example of not a safe space. Would you agree? And, you know, we raise those kids that go into high school that do all the things that they do, both to each other and to themselves. We are part of that growing. They didn't just show up that way. We raise our children, we raise ourselves from as much peace as we have, and let's give ourselves a little bit of break because, you know, we walk through it, and by God, they get to do it too, right? And that's part of growing up. A spiritual community is this place where a lot of times we come in and we heal all that we sort of walk through all these years. But sometimes we do the same thing. There's a story about a spiritual community that was going through change. So put yourself in this place have you been in spiritual communities when they walk through change? Anybody? Anybody? It's pretty, isn't it? It's so pretty. They were going through some change. There was a contentious debate about what direction to go. I know a few board members in here are going, really? Never happens. Things seem a bit divided. Should we go this way? Should we go that way? Should we hire this person? Should we hire that person? It's always about the minister, for goodness sakes. We're just not that big, not that great as well. So one person in the group that was kind of guiding this said, you know, let's go seek the counsel of the oldest member of our community. And everyone agreed, finally. And so a couple of people agreed to go to appeal to this person to talk to them about what direction they should go. So they sat, and he was an older man, and they're sitting there, and they said, so did you do this and this? And he said, no, we didn't do that. And he goes, well, they said, well, did you do this or this? And he says, yeah, didn't do that either. Well, did you do this or this? Doesn't really matter what they chose, right? And he goes, nope, didn't do it that way. So these two people started to get upset, and they said, well, what are we supposed to do? We have forgotten we are family. Everyone is arguing, and there is ugliness and contempt. And the old man said, yep, that's the way we did it. You get my point? Yeah. So part of our community coming together, for those of you who are new, you know, you saw this amazing vision, which is this is what these two communities came together to create as a way of saying we're going to come together and through mindful and respectful exploration, we're going to create a healthy foundation, right? And it supports and engages a whole beloved community. We read that every Sunday. Do we really remember what we're reading is sort of the question. It's equipped to launch new strategies for a thriving spiritual center. What's thriving? to you? Growth? What kind of growth? Evolving? Spiritual? Love? Doing things differently? Connection? Has it changed since we first did that? For those of you who've been around, has it changed? Has the community changed? It's stronger? Let me ask you this. For those of you that are new, look around. And for those of you who've been around, raise your hand. If you've been around for a year, raise your hand. Okay, if you don't like how this community is, blame them. Isn't that what we do, though? It was the minister's fault. It's the board's fault. So we look around and we want to know why it is I don't like it. It's because it's their fault, you know. And I think the thing about it is would you, for those of you that raised your hand, you've been here a while, are we thriving? We are, aren't we? Now, sometimes we think of thriving as, you know, there's 250 people in a room. By the way, if you hold that one out there, you're going to fire me in another week because it's my fault. I am. I like her. I'm the third goat. Talk about scapegoating, right? So over and over, we practice these same things. We practice the same ways of feeling and knowing things. And we want to know why something is happening or not happening. And I'm going to give you a little theory of mine that I've been studying this for a while. And by the way, it doesn't mean I'm right. Okay? So I'm not right. It's just an idea. When we don't know, we create answers. We create the answer. During COVID, one of the things that took hold was conspiracy theories like never before. It's not like we didn't have them before. But we created them, we posted them on social media, and the algorithm of social media just took off like fire. And through wanting to know, we create answers that aren't true. They may be real, but they're not true. And over the last 5 years, we have marginalized folks that we don't even know. We have blamed different candidates we don't even know. We have decided what's wrong, and we have taken, in a lot of ways, very, very complex situations and given them a simple explanation. He did it. She did it. They did it. We've done that. Would you call that thriving? No. That's like surviving. That's trying to find a place to stand so I feel better about what I don't know. The challenge, too, and they're actually calling it, in the mental health world, they're calling it an epidemic of wellness or lack thereof. That people are looking for a place to feel safe, to belong. And they're finding belonging, people that are sort of caught up. And believe me, there's not one person in this room that hasn't grabbed a conspiracy theory of some kind, whether it's part of Q or something else. We all have. Anytime we have said, they did it. Period. Because we're the ones that create this stuff. We're the ones that have created the world that we live in across the board. Whether it's for whatever reason that it is. And I think that belonging is so powerful that we will find a place to belong even if it's not good for us or someone else. And I think that's where in community, we come in community, we want to belong. We want a place where I can be authentic, where I can speak my heart, where I can be loved on my journey, where I can heal the trauma that I've walked in with, where I can find myself. And let's look at this. If we live on the margins, which is if you are a person of color, the LGBTQ community, female, part of a community that is differently abled, whatever that might be, that is what's called the margin. And that is what we decided when we pulled this community together, that we will make a place for all to feel safe. And safe is a part of feeling peace, right? One of the things that I'm looking at the time. If you see me look up, I'm looking at the time. One of the things that I found that I have been feeling this month is that I am a member of a marginalized community. I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. I'm female. And I realized this when I was talking to someone. I said, you know, part of me is tired of being the collateral damage of every election. I'm tired. I came out in my 20s, and every 4 years I wonder what's going to happen to me and my friends. I do. I do it every 4 years. And I wonder, and I was thinking, I think every 4 years this happens, and I'm wondering, well, why am I feeling a little stressed? Because that's what I'm feeling. When is someone going to throw me and my group, my community, and my friends under the bus to gain a little power? And that saddens me. And that's the journey. And that's the part I don't like. So I come in here and I go places where I know that I'm celebrated. As a female in a position of leadership, it's quite interesting, right? Oftentimes as females, we tend to believe that we have to work harder, a lot harder than our male counterparts to be recognized and or accepted as we are also valuable, that we are qualified. That's part of our society. And I have in my life worked to try to reduce that. And at the same time, the bigger journey, are you ready? Is to remember that the outside doesn't tell me who I am. That's what I have to work on a lot to make sure that that doesn't happen. At the same time, how do I make a difference? I make a difference by being there for folks who feel like this. And if I don't feel like this, support someone who does, right off the bat. It's our, as a community, to bring that safe, to bring that place of thriving so that people can walk here and feel like I can be in this community and I can be celebrated and loved. And I won't use the word regardless, because that is not the point. That I can be celebrated and I bring this in. See the difference? Now, there was a boy. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. Are you ready for that? You're like, geez, Reverend Bobby. And I got to pick us up. Mark Vanderen, he's an American poet. And when he was a kid, him and his brother had a friend named Eddie Shell. I so want a friend named Eddie Shell. That is such a cool name. And this boy used to come over and just love to play with them. And when the hour, every day he'd come over and play. When the hour came to go, Eddie just doesn't want to go. Eddie wants to hang out. And Mark's mother wasn't sure how to tell Eddie and was concerned for his feelings. He even talked to Eddie's mother about how he just didn't want to go home. He just loved being with Mark and his brother. So Mark's mother said, Mark's mother said to him and his brother, well, do you want Eddie to just stay for dinner? And they're like, not this time, Mom. Let's just have just us. Let's have dinner this time. And so she turned to Eddie and said, your mother's probably expecting you. And she said, I'm sure she wants you to come home, but he just wasn't picking up the hint. He's like, of course she wants me to come home. I don't. I'm just going to hang out here because I like hanging out here. And so finally, after seeing Eddie, who was standing on the other side now of the screen for the door, she says, Eddie, come and see us again sometime, okay? And he goes, sure. And he opens up the screen and he walks in. How beautiful is that this young boy felt like he belonged so much that there was nothing in his mind that he thought that he did not belong in there with them. That's the practice. That's the practice, is that I belong wherever I am, because the belonging isn't here. It's not someone's mother saying, oh, yeah, come on in. It's that I belong no matter what. And yes, I find communities that support who I am. And I try to stay off social media so that it doesn't poke at me about all the things that I'm terrified of. The two wolves. You've heard of that? Which wolf do I feed? Which wolf am I going to feed? The one that's afraid or the one that has courage? Sometimes I do both. Janine, my wife, was telling me this morning, she says, you know what, Bobbi? You always take it on. You take on the fight. Well, yeah. Yeah, I do. And it's important to also remember, what is the fight? What's my fight? How can I show up truly as a person who is peace? How can I show up in a way that speaks to not about making anyone wrong, but speaks more to that there's power. We have power in ourselves, that we have this amazing. Last week, God is chasing me. God is chasing me. And when I'm on social media or I'm in fear or I'm doing whatever, that's me running away. That's me forgetting when I'm triggered. It's interesting, as humans, we have the same DNA as most of creation, similar DNA. And one of the things that's really interesting about us is that we have the same conditioning and hardwiring as most animals on the planet. Yes? And no matter who we are, under certain circumstances, we will steal, we will kill, we will lie, we will get addicted, we will do a host of things because it's part of our hardwiring to feel safe and feel okay. So how do I support myself in that? How do I support myself in what practices can I engage in that move me from that place of feeling so much fear to feeling so negative about myself and the world? How do I do that? The one thing I don't do, which, by the way, this week was really tough, fires. I live in the city of Orange, and there's the airport fire. I thought, there's an airport fire in Rancho Cucamonga. Not Rancho Cucamonga, Rancho Santa Margarita, and I went, there's no airport over there. I was stuck on that for a little bit. It's those remote control planes that they play with. Someone set a fire that's about 6 miles from my house, and there was a fire going there, and there's the bridge fire up in San Bernardino, and when the wind is not blowing off the ocean, both of those fires come right down the 91, the smoke, and right down the 55 freeway, right through the city of Orange. Happens every time. So I have a lung condition. I was born with it. I couldn't go outside the entire week. Because if I did, and I have to be mindful, I'm not terrified, I'm not freaked out about it, but I don't like getting sick. Because it takes a while to heal from it. And so I'm stuck inside, and there's all this going on. I'm not saying that. Please don't say I'm sorry, Reverend Bobbi, later, because this is the deal. The deal is this. When I'm stuck with myself, it gets pretty crazy. Yes? It's like COVID. When we had to retreat, and every one of you are dangerous. Can I just talk about that? Every one of us is dangerous because we will go to our darkest place. That's not always bad because I get to look at it. And fortunately, I have tools like meditation. I call my friend the minister, Rev Carol, and we have great conversations. I have a therapist on speed dial. I do what I need to do to get out of that place or stay or not go so deep. And I try not to wait until it's so dark and deep that it's really hard to get out. I have to do it pretty quickly. And let me tell you what else. I come in here and I serve. And I prepare a talk all week and I work on that. And as I work on that, it works me. And it works me. And so by the time I get here, I get to serve with all you amazing folks. And the peace that you are fills the room, doesn't it? And we get to be there for one another, because if we're only here for ourselves, then we will join that whole group of conspiracy theorists out there just creating all sorts of things. We will want to know the answer, but the answer is not in my head. It is in the collective greater goodness that is God. I showed you this last week, but before I say that, Einstein asked this question. He said, is the universe friendly? And there was a reason he asked it, and he explains it in some of the interviews and writings. He said, because he was unsure and concerned we would use technology to build walls, to keep out the unfriendliness, and bigger weapons to destroy all that we believe is unfriendly. Is what we're using to support us, supporting the idea that it's a friendly universe? Or is what we're using to support us, supporting the idea that we don't live in a friendly universe? I have no issue with social media except how many hours we spend on it. I have no issue with social media except how many likes means how many times it gets posted and shared. And some of the stuff that gets posted and reshared is dangerous. And I say dangerous to our mind and our soul. And as we create stories, and I'm going to say this, when we hear something, do we repeat it or do we find out whether it's true or not? Because that's what's been happening. It's up to us to check that what we hear or what we find, whether it's true or not. And do I repeat it just because, gosh, I found out some answer? We get to ask ourselves those questions and be responsible about the peace that we're sharing in the world. Now, last week I shared this quote, which is, when you look at anything as separate from you, you cannot love it. You are afraid of it. Stop. When you look out there in the media, who or what are you most afraid of? If you cannot love it, you are afraid of it. Doesn't mean we love what someone does, but it is our purpose to love. When you know beyond all doubting that the same life that flows through all that is, and you are that life, every living being in the entire universe is included in your heart. We practice affirmative prayer. The thing that I'm trying to do right now is when I see something that I am not loving, or that I think is unfriendly, I'm not praying for them, by the way. I'm praying for how I see them. I'm not praying to change them. I'm changing me. The argument isn't about who's right or wrong. The argument is, do I love or not? Period. So the question is, what is peace in action? How can I be that peace? In Islam, there is a phrase that says, praise Allah and tie your camel to the post. Right? What does that mean? What is it that I think is God? What is it that I think is the universe? What is it that I think is divine in us? And then what do I practice to support that? Now, if I don't have an idea of what the divine is, if I'm not really focused on the greater idea of the universe, then I'm tying my goat to the post and I'm making sure that the goat doesn't get away. And what have I used to do that? If I'm only focused on the doing, only focused on the tying of the goat, I have to do both. I have to explore the universe. I have to explore what I think about it, and I have to explore it deeper so that when I feel like I do sometimes, Gina and I do, that I can support my way out it to remember that I am love. and I don't have to earn it. And that love is what moves peace through already that is me. That's already me. We forget that we belong to the universe. As a community, as a spiritual community, and this was, as we're moving through September, here comes this annual meeting that's going to be so interesting to me. Because we're going to talk about what we're doing, right? We're going to talk about all the things that have been happening over the last year. And we're going to talk about that call of what we came here to be. What did we come here to be as a community? And we have to answer that. We can't just do it to do it. And we cannot be what we were, because that's over. We have to be what we've been called to be. And I would hope that what we've been called to be is a community that practices peace. That is the peace that this world needs. Never doubt that a few people can accomplish so much in the world. So I'm going to challenge you today to do something. Are you ready? So, for those of you that are going to run out the door as soon as the talk is over or the song is over, okay. But I invite you to pause. Just take a moment. And walk up to somebody in the room today and ask them how they're doing. And if they say fine, I want you to ask them to tell you what that means. And to listen. And don't try to fix them if they tell you they're not feeling so great. They just want to be heard. You are not here to fix anybody. Neither am I. And to listen. Ask an open-ended question. Be present while they're talking. Avoid judgment. Avoid fixing and trying to find a solution. And reflect back to them. Are you ready? Reflect back to them how much they're worth. Just today. And tomorrow. And the rest of the week. So this is something I believe. And I'll close. Belonging is not about fitting in, but about embracing who you are and finding the spaces where you and others are celebrated and valued. Mindfulness, compassion, and trust help us stay present to this truth, guiding us to connect deeply with ourselves and others, creating the peace that comes from truly being seen and heard. Each one of us need to be seen and heard. I need to be seen and heard, and so do you. Let's practice that and bring a greater feeling, a greater idea of peace. And so it is. Thank you.
Happy people don't cheat. Happy people don't lie. They don't judge or hold a grudge. They don't criticize. Happy people don't hate. Happy people don't steal. 'Cause all the hurt sure ain't worth all the guilt they'd feel. If you wanna know the secret, you can't buy it, gotta make it. You ain't ever gonna be it by taking someone else's away. Never take it for granted. You don't have to understand it. Here's to whatever puts a smile on your face. Whatever makes you happy, people. Happy people don't fail. Happy people just learn. They don't think they're above the push and shove, they just wait their turn. They always got a hand or a dollar to spare. Know the golden rule of what you're going through, even if they ain't been there. If you wanna know the secret, you can't buy it, can't make it. You ain't ever gonna be it by taking someone else's away. Never take it for granted. You You don't have to understand it. Here's to whatever puts a smile on your face, whatever makes you happy, people. Ooh, these days ain't always easy to find the ones you want standing by your side. No time for greed if for someone you give them a slice, and we'll all be happy people. But life is short and love is rare, and we all deserve to be happy while we're here.
Hello, I'm back. I just want everybody here who has a September birthday to raise their hand, please, because we have birthday cards. Carrie's got a birthday card for everybody that's raised their hands. Oh, there's someone behind to the right, Carrie. There we go. So celebrate your birthday, and there's a little present in there from Pacific Coast. Thank you.
If I could please have the ushers come forward, and thank you, Maria, Janet, Florette, and Carrie for their service. If we could read this together. We rise together as love for ourselves and our community. We rise as acts of service, generosity, and the expression of our unique talents. As a committed whole, we give our gift today. So I really like that idea of like peace being in fashion. What do you think? Right? When it was in fashion, right? I think it ought to be in fashion today is what I think. So there's many ways to give. We give peacefully, we receive peacefully, and we're a part of the greater flow peacefully as well. If I could have our practitioners please stand. Look around at these fine people. They are cornerstones of our spiritual center. Yes, let's give it a thank you. Thank you. For anyone that might need some additional prayer today, right here, meet down here at the end of the service, down here for a corner. Or if there's some deeper work, some deeper things that you need, find one of these people and schedule some time. Pam, would you please come up and take the candle? Is Pam here? There she is. It's time to blow out your candle, my dear. Why not blow it up or take it up? Let's carry this peaceful light into the world, representing our peaceful intentions of today's service, and carry a bit of this light peacefully for us all out into the greater world. Reverend Bobbi, would you please do our benediction?
Okay, so see this? So I'm going to race to the back, because you know I do that every Sunday. And there's a couple other people joining me. Janice, come over here so people can see you, because they may not know who you are. See, Janice? She's going to tackle you on the way out. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. So AIF is such a really amazing thing to do. Every time we do something like this, small group, book study, wonderful. And Desmond Tutu, who is Christian, and then you have the Dalai Lama over here who's Buddhist, and they are teaching about how you can have joy even when you're suffering. Seems impossible. It's not. Joy is not about being happy. So we're going to be signing folks up, so don't miss out. Quick sign up. If you want to participate in a small group, we'd love to have you, okay? So Please stand if you are able. Just really grateful that you were here today. And we hope, as a community, we really hope that you got something out of today's message. If it touched you, twinged in you, and we hope we gave you something to walk out with to support you. That's the intention. And if something happened today that you feel like you need support, practitioners will be right here. So please use them. Let us hear what's up for you and support someone else. And remember what we asked you to do today. Ask someone how they're doing, okay? All right, so something's going on. Yes? No? Maybe? Yes. Well, what's happening right here and right now? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Michael, you're going to have to give me more than that next time, okay? Just a little bit more. Richard. Why did I call him Michael? Richard, can you give me a little bit more next time? And I want off the charts amazing. What? So something wonderful is happening through me. What's it called? It is this thing called life. Richard, we're not done. Where is it?
Life is in my mind.
And?
Life is in my body.
And?
Life is all that I am.
And?
Life is all that we are. Yeah.
What am I going to do with it?
I accept it.
And?
I am it.
And?
I share it with all.
That was good. What else can you do? Are you ready? How?
Just the way it appears.
And?
Just the way it appears not.
Now, on the count of 3, let's bring all that peace, gratitude, compassion, truth, life, love, and say the last line of this. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, life. Issa, we have a new song today. Pay attention. Sing it to the end.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all myself, and I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. Yeah. But now I can say, if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it all go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. Spirit, yes, I'm only here for God. I release, and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. with my